I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought.
I can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? This is the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I love you.
They deserve an ounce. It's got next. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I can't hear.
Good morning, Mr. Wallace. How are you?
Hey, Donnie, how are you? I couldn't hear you for a while.
It's all good. Welcome to the show. We stream on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. I think this is your first time on this platform with us.
Yes, sir, it is. I mean, I've observed it over the years. Know people who have participated, so I'm glad to spend some time with you, brother.
Well, normally we're seeing you on the big screen.
This is the big screen.
Nowadays it is. Well, welcome certainly to the Black media, or at least our attempt to tell our story. What have you been working on?
Well, you know, after the campaign, Donnie, I kind of got back into my businesses a little bit. As you may know, I don't run the day-to-day any longer, but I still participate in the strategic direction of our IT company and our energy company. And I've also continued to write, as you know. My new book is due out later this month. Let God Be God. So I've been keeping busy, Donnie. Been keeping busy.
What's the name of this new book?
So it's called Let God Be God, using God's disruptive power to change your life and to change the world.
And what does that mean?
So it's about power, Donnie. It's about power. So I wrote the book because I think many of us, Donnie, leave opportunities on the table, right, of life, because we try to be God ourselves. And so the book is saying, if we learn to let God be God, right, then all the power of the universe that is at our disposal, we can then use to not only change our lives, but to change the world. So I felt compelled to write that book. It's kind of done, it's kind of an intersection, right, between business success and spiritual fortitude, right? And I've just felt a burning part in my soul to kind of focus my writing on that intersection between business success and spiritual fortitude. And this is my second book, really, in that genre.
But you have a total of what, 8 books?
So I've written 8 books, Donnie. 6 have been published. You may have the early ones. I don't know if you heard Black Wealth, The
The
Road to
say
Small Business Success. Sorry.
the say principles.
Yeah, the Sese principles. I mean, you've been to Africa, you've been to our orphanage in Tanzania, and that's kind of how I got started down in writing about the Sese principles, guidelines for building wealth through faith, right? So you saw what was happening, what we're doing in Africa. Now imagine that what you saw down in Tanzania, and thank you for visiting and supporting our orphanage in Tanzania. If you take that, Donnie, and take that. Imagine what we can do if we extrapolate that a thousandfold, 10,000-fold, right? As you saw in Tanzania, Donnie, the need is great. The need is unlimited, but
Now,
the laborers are few.
now you and I know, but what is it about Africa that we appreciate so much?
Well, Donnie, when I go to Africa, really, when I go, as you know, I've been going since 1999. So I've been going for 32 years. But when I go to Africa, what I see there, I see in Cherry Hill, right? I see in East Baltimore. I see great people with wonderful gifts and talents who are struggling, right, to be recognized, who are struggling to participate in the economy, who are struggling to raise their children. I see the same thing down in Cherry Hill that I see in Tanzania, and so that's what keeps bringing me back to Africa in many countries in different capacities.
Well, in both cases, it seems like they have a problem with racial relations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Donnie. But if you look at it, it's very similar, right? It's a history of one group of people imposing themselves on another group of people because of the color of their skin, and because they have those who are imposing themselves have the power to do that, right? Then it is what the results that we see not only in Africa, but that we see in Baltimore City. When I ran for mayor, down a couple of years ago, my whole platform was on economic development for African Americans, because the root issue of all of our dysfunction in the city, in my opinion, is rooted in a lack of economic opportunities. And until we fix that problem, Donnie, we're not going to fix the social issues.
I think I disagree with you, Mr.
Okay, give it to me.
I think it's still the original sin.
Say
Right,
more.
right now in Hose Heights, historic Hose Heights, up there just above Hamden, just below Roland Park.
Mm-hmm.
The rich white members of Roland Park don't want this historic Black community that goes back to the 1800s. They don't want them to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is 2022.
Right.
Right, not far from Poly, because some famous people that went to Morgan, they all came out of Hose Heights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in 2022, we have white people treating Black people the same way that their ancestors did. But we have this critical race theory where now you are shamed from talking about what they did to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Certain people don't want to take any responsibility. Oh, that wasn't me, that was my ancestor.
Right.
I got it. So why are you still redlining? How about the area that got hit with the E. coli?
Yes,
because
sir.
all parts of the city are not treated the same.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
In Sandtown. We have addicts that don't match the majority demographics of Sandtown walking the streets and the alleys all night. If a black addict went over there to Bolton Hill and walked in them people's alleys all night, it'd be a different story.
It would, Donnie. So everything you just said, I agree with you 100%. All I'm saying, Donnie, is in addition to what you just said, I'm saying for us to have the ability to fight back, right? To fight the discrimination, to fight oppression, we need to have resources to do that. And that's all I'm saying. So I'm saying,
we
go ahead.
got resources. Look how much money has come through Baltimore just post Freddie Gray since 2015.
15.
7 years.
Right.
Nothing has changed in my neighborhood except we got a new funeral home and the police station got renovated.
Right.
That's all.
But Dad, that's true what you say. But I'm suggesting though that even though that's true, with the right leadership, right? With the right leadership, utilizing those resources, we can get the outcomes that you and I are trying to achieve.
Listen, you're an independent thinking black man. They are afraid of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree, Donnie. I agree.
You got to do it as a Democrat.
You know what, Donnie? I agree with you on that now. I didn't 3 years ago, right, when I ran as an independent. Because I think, Donnie, that many people that you and I know are independent thinkers. But I think too many of us have allowed ourselves to be put into a box, a Democratic box or whatever kind of box. And we have a hard time.
Media.
Yeah, then it is. It is. So we have a hard time fighting out that box. But I think if you get people to look beyond that box, you'll find, Donnie, that most people you and I know are independent thinkers.
I think you got to take the box and step on it with one of those street steamers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got to take the box and throw it out and start over. See,
yes.
We're starting with a sinful foundation. We've never addressed the original sin.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
Baltimore is the home of segregation.
Yes, it is.
Going back to 1905, 1910, where this same community, Roland Park, the people that founded that garden community, I never even heard of a garden community.
Right.
They wanted legislation to stop blacks from ever moving in.
They sure did. Park. Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
They went so far as to block whites from ever moving into black communities.
Absolutely. Yes, they did.
And then they replicated this around the country. Baltimore is the home of segregation going back to Mayor J. Barry Mahou. And you're too independent a black man for you to come in here and tap dance and buck dance to these people's music. They're racist to the core. But they hide behind, we Democrats. Democrats are racist too. Look at Baltimore.
Absolutely. No question about it, Daddy. You and I were raised here in this city. I've seen this firsthand, what you're talking about. Yes, absolutely. That is the legacy of Baltimore City. The question for us now, and this is all of us, black folks, white folks, where do we go from here, right? Where do we go from here? And as if I had become the mayor, it would have been my job to recognize the legacy of racism and redlining and neighborhood covenants and all these crazy things to keep us down. You can't
talk about that and become mayor. You're gonna scare people.
You know what? That might be true, Donnie, but it is something that needs to be talked about. And so
we gotta clean it up. We all gotta start doing more like Westmore. Like, we're gonna go straight down the road. Or maybe that's my Anthony Brown impression. We're gonna move the ball. We're gonna move the ball down the field. We're gonna win the game. You can't talk about the truth because this city can't handle the truth. Because these
Well, I
people
tell you
walk
what.
around, disguised. Baltimore
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
had a poem called "We Wear the Mask,"
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm
and that's
familiar with
what,
that.
that's what's going on in Baltimore. We wear the mask like we Democrats, like we care about people. But I haven't seen a new recreation center, honestly, since Greater Model Rec
My
down there
Lord, my
in
Lord, my
West
Lord.
Baltimore, down
That's
by
true,
Baltimore.
Donnie. It's true. It's true. But Donnie, it's gonna take courageous leaders to challenge that. Because you're right, Donnie. People don't want to talk about that. They're only talking about
I think
the
we need
bad
some
stuff.
lawyers to find the dirt on the powers that be.
Mm,
Because we got Trump
mm.
white people in Baltimore with Trump money.
Yeah. Yes.
Trump ain't just come here and make money, it's others. It's a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
We have to find the cancer, like a University of Maryland. How come Kathy Pugh the only one got in trouble?
Mm,
Where
mm.
those other people at? And how their
Yeah.
wives feeling these days that Kathy Pugh home?
Mm, mm.
Where them
Good.
people at? They never got.
Yeah.
Where's the killer of Robert Lee Clay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of my mentors. Yep.
They killed a giant.
Mm-hmm. And got away with it.
Oh no, they tried to first blame it on some other black people, but we know
Mm,
who had reason to get Bob Clay out the way.
mm-hmm.
That happened during the
Mm-hmm.
O'Malley administration. O'Malley was running for governor, and Bob Clay had put signs everywhere from Prince George's to Baltimore City. We would take a moment out and just pause for Mr. Robert Lee Clay. He was the type of man. Last time I saw him, he was knocking on my door. And I live down there in Sandtown, so only a few knock on the door.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Mr. Bob Clay. He was the kind of man that knock on your door to bring you your money. That's a real man.
He was a good man. He was a good man.
Back during the campaign, one of the things I enjoyed hearing you talk about was it was almost like you were trying to be these dirt bike kids' daddy vicariously. You were mad, and I remember that. Matter of fact, that was the realest part for me because it was like a frustrated dad who's been kept away from his kids, especially his boys, when the dad knows he's got to be there to give the young bulls some discipline.
Right.
But they just kept, other people just kept getting in the way and stopping daddy from being a dad. And that's what's happening with most of these young people.
That's
Their
right.
father is not in their life by
That's
choice,
right.
force, or however. And around 12 or 13, when that boy gets stronger than his mother physically,
Yes, sir.
as he
Yes, sir.
starts to buck,
Yes,
there's
sir.
nothing she can do. Just like
Nothing
when a
she can
young
do.
girl when
That's
them
right.
hormones get to popping, if daddy ain't been in her ear for 16 years,
My Lord.
might be an early pregnancy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, Donnie, the thing that I was trying to convey in the campaign, look, I have raised five children, right? Four boys and one girl. My
Who's in the
oldest,
penitentiary? Anybody in the penitentiary?
no, no, sir. By the grace of God, no, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Right? And Donnie, my oldest is
That's
44.
something to be grateful for.
Yes, sir. It is. I thank God every day, Donnie. I thank God every day. My oldest boy is 44. My youngest boy is 32. And my daughter is the baby. She's 28. I'm gonna tell you something. My father raised five boys in Cherry Hill. And one thing about boys is that at a certain age, where I call it the alpha male syndrome, right? Where he thinks he's going to be top
He gonna
dog,
try
top
daddy.
gun.
He gonna
Yeah,
try daddy.
he's gonna try. He's gonna try daddy. That's right. And
Typically,
it's
one time, if daddy's a real man, that ain't going. That's not
That's
even
right.
going.
That's right, Daddy. One time,
Money go.
at one time, and I can tell you, all four of my sons, they had their alpha male moment, and by the grace of God, my wife and I we were in cahoots on this. When it happened, we saw it and we addressed it. And like you said, Donnie, it only happened one time. Now imagine though, if those boys did not have that alpha male moment, right? When Daddy put them in their place and let them know that you have to respect, right? Rules and authority or their consequences. Imagine what would happen if the boys don't have that. And what we're seeing now in our cities too often, our young men have not had that alpha male moment with that major male man in their life. And so if daddy don't get them under control, the
You leaving
streets
for the
will.
police and the correctional officer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's Donnie, it's so predictable. It's so predictable. So the point that I was trying to make running for mayor was, look, we need to look inward and say, what can we do to change that dynamic
We
such
can
that these
allow
young men,
parents to whip their children's hind parts
that's
within
right. That's
reason
right.
and leave them alone. And
Yes,
Karen
sir.
need to go sit up
Yes,
under
sir.
that. Karen need to mind her business and raise her own kids. It's
Amen.
amazing
That's
to
right.
me. It's amazing to me in America, Mr. Bob, that we raise other people's children.
My Lord.
Our
Yes, sir.
grandmothers, great grandmothers, black women
Yes, sir.
breastfed these little children.
Yes, sir. Sure did. Yes, sir.
And so then to have some little pissant come to me in the middle of the supermarket
Right.
and say, don't discipline your child, first you got to do a double take to see who this is talking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then
That's right.
who they are talking to.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that moment where you consider the history. What do you know about raising children?
My Lord.
I see people, and some might take this as racist, but I didn't make racism in America. I see all of these chef shows.
Hmm.
I see these chefs from other European countries, and they're sprinkling this and sprinkling that. And it just made me wonder why y'all didn't cook your own damn food back then. Since you all good and we get it good.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bob,
That is no, that Donnie, that is. Donnie, I tell you a funny story to that point. So my middle son, he was about 8 or 9. He got sent home and said, he said, Daddy, guess what my teacher told me? She said that if you and Mama spank me, that I can call the police. Man, I grabbed that boy, man. I grabbed that boy, Daddy, and I said, when we get to a point where the government's going to tell me how to raise my children, then they can take them. They take them and raise them. But until that day, I'm raising them.
Mr. Bob, could you go through this scenario again? I think I heard what you said. Could you tell me that again? The teacher said what?
Right. So the teacher in my son's school, they had this social studies event, and
This
the
was
teacher
a white
said,
woman. Was this
yes,
a white woman?
yes, yes, it was, yes, it was. And she said she told the children, if your parents spank you, you have the right to call the police.
That's
So my son
the problem. We need to
Yeah.
catch her and put her on trial
Right.
for violating family rules and minding somebody else's
That's
business. We're going to start our own court.
To their own court. But it was incredible, Daddy.
Miss
It was
Nosy,
incredible.
we hear that you over there minding Mr. Bob's business.
Right. Hey.
And we need to give her a Karen sentence, like 90 days helping, 90 days being a squeegee assistant.
My Lord. My Lord.
Since everybody talking about the squeegee kids, let's get them their own personal assistant. Give her 90 days of being a squeegee kid assistant. Listen, this thing about squeegee kids, are they serious? Are you telling me these journalists at these so-called news organizations have nothing to do but watch kids on a corner all day?
Wow.
Now look, when you sent me to Tanzania, we went to Ethiopia. We left Addis to go outside of the town up to Ambo town. During the daytime, It was fine. Coming back at nighttime, it was something like the squeegee kid exchange.
Yes, sir. Yes,
there
sir.
was a guy with an AK.
Yes,
There was a little
sir.
makeshift roadblock. Now you
Yes,
can
sir.
sit up there and dispute. I don't think your roadblock looks professional.
Right.
I don't think your uniform is all that pressed. I mean, your boots look like they need. You can do all of that current stuff if you want to.
If
But
you want to.
But you're not getting through that
No,
check.
sir.
at
That's
all.
right, Donnie. That's right.
You
That's
can
right.
call Biden, CIA, you can call your Discover card. You're not getting through that road. You better pay him.
You
So
ain't
just
getting
pay.
through. That's right. And you'd be lucky if you get through with your life. I
That's
mean,
what I'm saying.
you've been there. You've seen it, and I have for 32 years. And at that moment in time, that young person, that soldier with that AK-47,
Is
they
the
had the
boss.
power. He's the boss.
They the
That's
boss.
right. They the boss. They got the power. At midnight on a back road, and they to stop there. They're the boss. So you have to change your paradigm as to how you think and talk and deal with people.
I'd say so. One day in
Yeah, me too.
Tanzania, I was going to the town. I was going from the Seventh Day Adventist compound, because you know them people. They give me no. You ain't tell me they ain't serve no meat, man.
My bad, Daddy. My bad.
About 3-4 days in,
That's right. No meat.
I'm gonna break free from the group. North Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I've seen something that looked like a taxi go by. Now, come to find out, it was a caravan with about 12 other people in it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
for the first time in my life, I sat next to a chicken. I looked at the chicken.
Welcome to Tanzania.
I looked back at the chicken. Let's just stop right there. Mr. Bob, I've never traveled anywhere with a live chicken.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Especially a chicken that was looking at me and I'm looking at it. And
Yes,
I'm
sir.
thinking to myself, they about to fry you up, buddy.
Yeah. So, Daddy, did you find any meat that night?
So I make it to the hotel, but that's what I wanted to tell you. So here in America, up around Towson Town Mall, they have what is called a roundabout.
Okay.
All throughout Africa, they got roundabouts because that's what
Yes,
people
sir.
use
Yes, sir.
long before street lights.
That's exactly right. That's right.
Now I know where I want to go. I want to go to the hotel where they serving regular food or Americanized food.
Right.
I make a right turn on the roundabout. I've seen the tour bus do this repeatedly. And I'm saying, I can do this.
Right. 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 Right.
Well, I get off at the wrong turn on the turnabout, and I go down this long, dark road. And while, one of the most frightening things for me is like going to the penitentiary.
Mm-hmm.
As I walk down this dark Tanzanian street, it's pitch black. All I know is it's pitch black, but I see people over there moving around like it's broad daylight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I see that on my right. I see that on my left. And I'm saying, this ain't the way to the hotel. That's when
right.
the fear is starting to, my mind is starting to take over. Like, say we coming down Monument Street. Say you going past the old Flag Projects or Murphy Homes. You know what it is, but you don't know what this is.
Nope, not in Tanzania. That's right.
Them people weren't thinking about me. It took me about 5 minutes to get my heart and courage together to turn around and walk backwards. But in my mind, these people know I'm American. First of all, because in Tanzania, we don't look Tanzanian. We might get away in Ethiopia. In Tanzania, they know you ain't Tanzanian. They ain't got
you're not from here. That's right. You're not from here.
I think we don't understand the big world. We all need a trip to Tanzania. We all need a trip outside of Baltimore. My daddy said travel is the best form of education.
Oh my goodness.
And that's what the people of East and West Baltimore need. And let me tell you what the people of Roland Park need. They need to bring their ass down to the East and West Baltimore communities and stop acting like this is 1910 and that's a garden community and they live by themselves. When war has broken out, they come and they get young men from our community to go and fight these wars, not just Iran and Iraq and Afghanistan, but going back to the first conflicts in this country, going back to the Revolutionary War, James Forten,
Absolutely.
a
Absolutely.
philanthropist, pretty much a millionaire in Philadelphia. I mean, you would be a modern day James Forten. He hired people. He hired black people and white people, but we will never know that they were free black people who were never slaves in this country.
Absolutely.
Where's
Absolutely.
that history?
Absolutely.
They tell
Absolutely.
us about black slave owners, but there are no real stories about blacks with no history of slavery. We don't even know who we are.
Well, that's why, Donnie, we have to tell our own story, and we have to be, and we as the elders in our community, we have to take it on ourselves to tell that story, to tell the story of Tanzania, to tell the story of being raised in Baltimore, Donnie, when you and I were raised, where black folks may have had less resources, but our parents raised us. They had pride, they had focus. Those days the young people need to know about that history that we have.
Mr. Bob, if there's one thing you could do for the city of Baltimore right now, what would you do?
What I would do, Donnie, is I would create a macroeconomic development initiative that would bring wealth creation opportunities and jobs to the African American community in the city of Baltimore. I still say, Donnie, that the root causes of the dysfunction that we see, the whole Freddie Gray. Now, you think Freddie Gray was just the uprising was about just Freddie Gray? I would disagree. I think that what we have in the city is this accumulative oppression, this accumulative poverty, this accumulative hopelessness. And every year we live, every day we live, it gets greater and greater and greater until something happens and then it bursts forward. That's what happens. And
You're
I
right.
suggest to you that, in my view, if we can fix the economics in this city for African American people, that we will make a major dent
Mr. Bob,
in the helplessness and hopelessness that we
I
see.
think you're missing an important point. They don't
Okay,
want
give
to
it to me.
They don't want to fix black people.
Well, Donnie, even if that's true,
They will
right?
die
We do
before they
not.
help
We
you.
are okay. Well, there may be some people who like that, Donnie, but we dictate. We dictate our future, not
I
somebody
thought we
else.
did.
No, it'll be a fight, huh? Say again.
I thought we dictated. I mean, when I
Well,
think of
Donnie,
Clarence Mitchell the third, when I think of Marion Barry, but
right?
now we got some poo butts who talking about Winnie the Pooh. They ain't talking about Malcolm X.
I
They talking
understand.
about,
I understand.
bike lanes. They ain't talking about reforming West Baltimore homeless, abandoned houses. We talking
But we
cupcakes.
have.
We're talking about cupcakes. We're talking about
I. I.
pineapple
I.
goddamn cake. We
I.
ain't talking about some hardcore ass whipping. A shout out to Mr. Williams. You don't know Mr. Williams. He's my 5th and 6th grade teacher. Back in the day, they would have said he was an abuser. But he wasn't an abuser. He was a black man saving the lives of 3 black men, Robert Harris, Jonathan Spate, and Matthew Crawford, who didn't look like they were going very far at all because they wouldn't listen. Mr. Williams saved their lives. Other people can't tell us how to run ourselves because
Totally
they don't
agree.
know us.
Totally agree, Donnie. And the other thing of this is that if you don't own a problem, and then you lose the power to fix it, to address it. So what I'm suggesting to you is that, yeah, you're right. We have not taken advantage of the opportunities that we've had, but that's because we've not made the right choices in our leadership. If we get the right leaders with the right vision and ability to execute, we can make this thing, we can change this thing, we can fix this. And I will always believe that. But we got to make better choices starting with our leaders.
Mr. Bob, if you want to be mayor, you should come and get these houses right next to me and transform them right here in Sandtown.
Mm-hmm. Well, Donnie, I tell you what, I accept that challenge.
I want you to look
I,
at it first. You might like
I'm,
Baltimore better, but you gotta go
yeah.
either to East Baltimore or West Baltimore and set up camp. You got to spend some time with the
Uh-huh.
people. If Larry Hogan wanted to come, he has mentioned, now that Trump took that option off the table on the federal, maybe
Right.
he would be interested in moving to Baltimore. But we have to bring these unafraid minds. That's what you are. That's what Hogan is. They're unafraid to the extent I'm unafraid because I'll vote for a Republican if they have the right answer. I'm not married to no racist ass Democratic Party that's been
Right.
screwing my people over all my life.
I agree, Dan.
But
I
not
agree
all
with that.
black people are on that level. We still got to
No,
play
they're
the
not.
game. And that's the
There
problem. We
were
play
that.
games.
Well, Donnie, there were a number of people in the last mayor election
They have
who,
a damn
and I
clue.
heard this, who did not vote for me, although they agree with my ideas and my approach, did not vote for me because I was not a Democrat, right? So that's a problem. That's a problem. When we get to a point where we're going to vote for people for who they are, their ideas, how their ability to solve problems, if that doesn't change,
I,
then our condition, our
but
situation does not change.
Mr. Bob,
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you a personal question.
Uh oh. I'm in trouble now.
What kind of soap do you use?
I try not to use soap. I don't. So down. I
What kind
don't use soap on my face. Sorry.
Give me a brand that you use daily. Use a brand of toothpaste.
Yes, Crest toothpaste.
You've been using it your whole life.
Pretty much. Mama
That's
started with Colgate back in the day, but then I moved to Crest because
same
I was
here.
working at Procter and Gamble.
But that's how people vote, Mr. Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Brand loyalty, whether the brand is any good or not. I'm glad for
Amen.
my
Amen.
grandma
Good
because
point.
my mama liked Coca-Cola. When I got to go around grandma's house, grandma always had these cold cans of Pepsi. And she would encourage me, Dinah Party, what's the soda? But it wouldn't be the first thing on the agenda.
Right.
Oh,
Right. Right.
you gonna spend some time. You gonna spend some time before you get to that can of Pepsi. But I was eyeing
Yes,
that.
sir.
Well, first
Yes,
you had
sir.
to wash your hands. That's old school. And grandma
That's right.
in
That's right.
1975 had a little bucket by the sink with little
Yes,
bleach,
sir.
with little
Yes,
bleach.
sir. Yes,
You
sir.
don't know what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
sir. Yeah, well, I do.
And she said, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
All of
Yeah,
those
that's
people
it.
told us to wash our hands before you go in the refrigerator. See, they knew
That's
about
right.
E. coli and the pandemic and the COVID. They knew about none of this stuff is new. I wonder how the people in
No, it's
Africa
not.
view this pandemic. You want to touch that?
Well, you know what oh yeah, hey Donnie, they deal with a pandemic every day. I mean, you and I have been there, all right? And I've been going for 32 years, me and my family. Talking about malaria, talking about dengue fever, you're talking about poisonous snakes, poisonous spiders. I mean,
And don't
it's funny,
forget those
Donnie. We
damn
were
mosquitoes. Did you mention the
oh,
mosquitoes?
oh malaria. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Malaria,
Donnie,
yeah.
malaria.
I ain't
Yeah,
never
oh my
slept in no
goodness.
net. I
Yeah,
slept in
buddy.
a net.
Yeah. Even Donnie, leprosy. Even leprosy. I mean, I've seen leprosy up close. You've read about leprosy in the Bible, right? But when you see it up close, that is a devastating disease. It is a horrific one, and it break your heart to see somebody suffering through that. Even leprosy is an issue in many parts of Africa. So yeah, Donnie, the pandemic thing, that is a factor of life, or a way of life, unfortunately, for many in those countries.
We got
But
to
I'll
get
tell you this,
rid.
Donnie. I'll tell you this. We have been servicing and serving the people of Africa for 32 years, and I can tell you this: not a single one of us have ever gotten sick. Not in a major way. I mean, we've had diarrhea and stuff like that, but not in a major way. Only by the grace of God. And so I'm saying, when we commit ourselves, I believe, to helping people, that the God of the universe will find a way, right, to make that happen, and will conspire with you to achieve the results. And that's the same thing we need to have happen in Baltimore City, Dad. The same thing. I believe our problems in Baltimore are solvable. They can be solved, but we
What
got
I'm
to have the right
saying,
leadership, right
some,
plan.
some people benefit off the problem.
That's true, Don. It's true. That's true. But
Look
how
at
long are we going to allow that?
look, because they so slick with it, and they pay out just enough money
Just enough.
to calm people down. Not enough money
Absolutely
to
true.
fix the problem, just
Yes,
enough
sir.
money to stop you from rioting. And I'm
Yes,
talking
sir.
about these foundations, Able Foundation, all these foundations, all this money they give to the black
Mm,
community, except if you're a big mouth. If you're a big mouth and you talk about them, then they'll cut you off from getting any grants from anybody.
mm.
See, a thug is a thug. Whether
I
you got a
totally
law
agree.
degree,
That's right.
whether you got a Christian collar, a
That's right.
thug is a thug.
That's right. A thug is a thug.
A
That's right.
president,
Mm-hmm.
the head of the board of elections, whomever. If you a thug, you a thug.
You're a thug. That's right. If you're a thug, you're a thug. Totally agree with you on that. Absolutely.
But
Call it what it is.
what do you think about the police not policing in Baltimore?
Well, that's a problem. Look, you and I know, and I've seen data since Freddie Gray in
I've seen them slinging
2015.
dope in front of the police
Oh
right
yeah,
in the corner.
Donnie, when I ran for mayor and I was the only one walking through the communities during the height of a pandemic. There were open drug markets, broad daylight,
They still
right,
got them
and
right
still
around
got
the
them,
corner.
right, right, and the police are sitting right there and not doing anything. Now that's a problem, Donnie.
No, the
That's a problem.
police, somebody got a check. Somebody got a little money to turn their head and look the other way. A real cop gonna get out their car and say, hold up, you ain't slinging right here while I'm on duty.
Well, either that, Donnie, either that, because I've talked to when I ran for mayor, I talked to a lot of officers to say, tell me, well, how are you feeling, right?
The
And in
white
many
boys
cases,
at the top
Donnie,
told them
many
to
of them
take a
feel
knee.
like, you know what?
The white boys at the
Say again,
top
Donnie.
told them, the white boys at the top told the cops to take a knee. Show up, but don't do anything. And that's what
Well,
we got in Baltimore. Nobody's policing.
well, that is happening. That's true. I'm not sure who told them that, but that definitely is happening. But I think, Donnie, part of the issue though is this lack of trust between the police as an institution and the people, especially in the black community, right? That is a problem. But so if we're going to rely on the police to help us to fix our communities, we got to have better trust, Donnie, and we got to build that trust. When I was a kid in Cherry Hill,
You
right?
gotta
I
give
remember
them old racist
1960.
white boys down the police. They gotta
Well, you
go.
do.
Like the
Well, you
ones who
do. You
tried to
do.
say that Detective Sean Suter from DC gonna kill himself in a filthy ass West Baltimore alley. You mean to tell me
Yeah.
that you know them cats from DC a little too pompous to kill themselves? And this
Right.
this cat got a wife, 5 beautiful
Right.
children, and you
Right.
gonna tell me, just like he tried to tell me about Bob Clay,
Bob Clay. Yep.
that this man went to a filthy West Baltimore Street Bennett place and shot himself.
My Lord. My Lord.
See, that's the ignorance that we are faced with. Nobody in their
Yes.
right
Yes.
mind would tell you something like that. And then
Absolutely.
remember, they shut down the whole community.
The whole
Held
community.
people hostage for damn near 2 weeks. Racist ass Baltimore cops. They knew who killed that man. They put him in an ambulance and take him to university. 2 minutes away. 2 minutes. That car got in an accident.
My Lord. My Lord. Well, you know what? I never believed that he killed himself either, Donnie. Never believed
He
that.
was about to go testify against other cops. Why was he even in the street? Let's
Right.
start with that. What
Yes.
idiot put him
Yes.
on
Yes.
assignment?
Right.
He about to do
Absolutely.
some Serpico stuff. And that's the other thing.
That's
At
right.
that point, his life was already in somebody else's hands. Once you agree to testify, I mean, it ain't no different than street justice. Don't go to court and show up against me. You gonna have a problem.
Right.
Your daughter ain't coming
Right.
home.
Mm.
That's what they say.
Well, yeah, no, it's true. I mean, look, there's an issue with the police not protecting the people. Well, Donnie, policing as an institution, I mean, let's be honest about it. Policing as an institution has never been designed to
Far.
serve and protect black people,
No.
right? It's been institutionally, it's been designed to
To-
control,
Yes,
right,
black people.
black people. So
White people
let's
didn't
let's
need the police.
no, it didn't need it. So let's start with that. Let's start with that. Now, that was
In their
okay. What
mind.
happened? Yeah, we can't change that. That's what it was. But moving forward, how can we turn that around? How can we turn it around so
We
that we
start
have
allowing
a
parents to
partnership?
put them kids' hind parts at home, first of all.
I agree with that
Let me
too.
say this, Mr. Ball.
I agree with that too.
You call the police on Lily Glover. I
Mhm.
dare you. Your life will be so effed up. You call the police on your mother. Are you
That's
serious?
right. That's right. That's
That's
right.
just
That's
what
right.
teacher,
Mm-mm.
no teacher who knows her students. If you know black people, you would never tell a black child to buck on his mama. You done lost your
That's right.
damn mind.
You lost your mind.
Miss Sylvia is gonna break his neck. And if she find out you told him to do it, she gonna break your neck too.
That's right. That's right.
See,
I told my son that day.
we done got away from who we are, and we
Mhm.
watching too much damn television, Mr. Bob.
I totally agree with that, Dad.
Sylvia,
Totally agree.
Sylvia
Yep.
ain't letting nobody come up in her house and tell her what to do.
And not only TV, Donnie, but the music we listen to. I mean, everything. Look, your eyes, your
I
ears
agree.
are avenues to your soul, right? So you are, and you become what you see and what you hear. So
That's
if
why
you're hearing all this
that's
filth,
why Kathy Hughes might need to revisit what it is she's doing. Because when I listen to some of the music on 92Q, it's a damn shame.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
you
rough.
hear
It's rough, Donnie.
you
It's
hear
rough.
words on television and radio today, words we would never say on television, on radio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now it's
Absolutely.
just free. But
Yeah.
these people want to teach my grandchild about gender equity.
Uh-huh. Right. Right.
Mind your damn business. Teach your own damn kids. You don't need to teach my kid nothing about their gender. Because clearly you ain't clear on your own.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You're talking
That's a
to 5
problem.
and 6 year olds about gender. Some of these 5 and 6 year olds got 2 mommies. They got
My
a daddy
goodness.
they might not know about, but they see 2 mommies.
Right. Right.
There's some mental trauma. I thought after Freddie Gray, Stephanie Rollins Blake would have impressed me if she lined up a whole North Avenue with trailers with mental health therapists in there.
My Lord. My Lord. My Lord. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
yeah,
that whole
Donnie.
strip
Yeah.
of West North Avenue where Murder Mall is, we just have campers down there. We be serving food and we be healing our people. Because white
Absolutely.
people need healing too. And if they think they don't, that's the problem.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, look, the trauma of being black in America, the trauma of being
And if
in
you white and
poverty,
you don't know about that trauma,
it's
you the
tough.
problem.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Donnie, it's a miracle that guys like you and I got through the environments that we came through with some level of sanity. I mean, I look at my life and how we were raised. We had no heat in the winter. We had food sometimes, rats running all over the place. You know what I mean?
I ain't living
And the
in no rat.
violence. Well, we
No.
did, man. We did.
In Cherry Hill,
Cherry Hill. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. And I'm
ain't like
saying
I
my
ain't never
five
been in
brothers.
there.
No, we had them in the house, Donnie. We had them in the house. So I know about the trauma, but it's amazing. Mom and Daddy was still able to help us maintain to some level of sanity that we can make
Man,
our way out of that our
if
poverty.
I didn't take the trash out and daddy came home and it was like 1 or 2 o'clock and the trash wasn't out, first of all, I don't know what I was thinking. I guess I
That's
wasn't
right.
thinking.
That's right.
If that trash in there and it's 2 a.m. and you got to walk the trash, first of all, you got to kick the fence.
Yes, sir.
The signal to the wall. Whoa there, I'm coming down.
That's right.
Because if you don't send no signal, they won't know to move. And you'll get there and you'll be finding out how much you do not run. You'll find out you
That's
don't run
right.
nothing back there.
Yes, sir.
After they
Yes,
give you the
sir.
okay, all right, let them come on down here and dump the trash. Bring some more. You bringing dinner down. You're a little late with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true, Dad. That's a different world, man. Different world.
I look
But again, the trauma though, you know what I mean? That we still were able, and many of us who came through that, we were still able, our parents were able to guide us and navigate us through that poverty, right? To a better place. So we know that it's possible to change and to fix
so where can people get this book at?
it.
The
I'm
book
sorry, did I say again?
we want to sell a book today, correct?
Well, if they go, hey Donnie, if they go to www.robertwallace.com, right? www.mynamerobertwallace.com. They can order not only the most recent book, but the other 5 6 books that I've written also. And I think it will be very helpful to people, especially people like me, who started out in a tough place, who wanted to get to a better place but didn't know a pathway to get there. I think they will find that book to be helpful at creating that path for themselves.
Good deal. You want to put a phone number out there? Just send them to the website.
Oh, I'll give them my number also, Donnie. 443-864-8698. That's 443-864-8698.
Mr. Leroy here is probably your biggest fan.
Well, he's a good man. He's a good man. We've connected on social media, and we need more brothers like that, man. That as you said, Donnie, at the outset, are independent thinkers. They're not afraid to speak truth to power, right? Who not afraid to take risk, right? And get in people's faces. So if I ever become mayor, Donnie, if I ever become mayor, that I'm going to be in people's faces. And you know, somebody asked me during the campaign, Donnie, they said, "Well, what makes you different, Mr. Wallace, than from Mr. Scott or the Republican candidate and so forth?" And
You're a
I thought for a
successful
moment, Donnie,
businessman. Real simple. You're a successful businessman who's raised
well, that's
children.
true.
And that was my favorite part of the campaign when you were parenting, when you were telling them what we need
Yes,
to do with these young men, because it's like other people don't want us to be, they don't want you to be a strong black man.
right. Absolutely, absolutely.
You know
But
why I made it through Baltimore City Public Schools? Because we had teachers who loved us.
yes, we did. Amen.
That's
Amen,
what
Donnie.
you don't
Amen.
have today. You
Amen.
got Teach for
Amen.
America, who are often from other communities, and they certainly don't understand the realities of life
Right.
in the urban community of the most segregated city in America.
My Lord, my Lord, my Lord. Speak, preach it, Donnie, preach it. I mean, it's true. Our teachers, man, our teachers. Oh my goodness. I think about what my life would have been had I not had dedicated teachers back in the 60s. You know, I don't know where I would be today. So we owe them so much. But again, Donnie, I think that we have the power. We have the power to fix our lives, to fix ourselves. It
When
takes
have
the
we
least the
last,
right
excuse me,
leadership.
when have we last had the right leadership?
Oh my goodness. Well, it depends on a national level. I mean, I think we had great leaders who provided a piece of the puzzle throughout the journey. You know, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey,
No, in
Dr. King,
Baltimore, in Baltimore.
and Balt. Well, you know, Donnie, I think the Murphys were strong leaders. I think the Mitchells, it just didn't translate to a broader array of the
I
community.
was gonna say Kurt Smoke. That's
Kurt
the
Smoke,
last time we've had a real black leader. Now, some people had their picks, and but it's the last time we saw money in West Baltimore and East
I think
Baltimore.
I think Kurt Smoke was
O'Malley
a
took the money away, and the rest of them, they didn't have a clue.
Kurt Smoke was a wonderful mayor. I think Kurt Smoke should have been our first black governor. or our first black
He was
senator.
smart. He got away from it.
Yeah, I
But
think he
he
should
did
have
go
been.
through unscathed. See, a
No, he
lot of
did.
us, and that's why I would support you, because you got your own money. Some of us don't have our own money. And a person without their own money is
They're
weak.
vulnerable. Yeah,
It's
Donnie.
very
Yes.
vulnerable.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
done had
Donnie.
delegates go to jail for 15 and 35 grand.
My Lord, my Lord.
Yeah, the
That's
man
true,
going
Donnie.
out for 800 grand.
My Lord,
I
my
just want
Lord.
to tell you publicly, if you catch me over that penitentiary, Donnie Glover got 10 million at least.
Yes, sir. I hear you, Donnie.
Up for 15 grand.
My Lord, my Lord. But Donnie, but it ties back to my point about economic foundation. I mean, if you look at
Some
why
people
do
do the leadership for the wrong damn reason. They end
well,
up
that's true.
themselves.
That's true. That's true. But you look at our politicians, our black politicians who have gone to prison. It's because what you said, Don. It's because of money, because or lack thereof,
They
right?
didn't play the
Because
game right.
well, that too. But I'm saying the impetus was they didn't have an economic foundation,
That was their
so so,
weakness.
so they were a weak position and they felt vulnerable to the opportunity. That's why, Don. It's that simple. So, like you said, Donnie, if you come to the table with your own wealth and your own economic
Like
foundation,
you,
then you're in a better position to fight. That's all I'm saying. You're in a
but you're
better
also
position to
even
fight.
more of a threat because you can think for
That's true.
yourself and you don't need no racist ass money.
That's true. That's very true.
University of Maryland and Johns Hopkins run Baltimore. They run Baltimore. I don't think they pay their fair share of taxes. If I don't pay my house taxes, they're gonna take my house. But University of Maryland, they've been getting over Hopkins. That's why I hope Henrietta Lacks's grandson, sues the pants off of Hopkins because they made billions off of Henrietta Lacks's healer cells.
That's true. That's true, Donnie. Hey, Donnie, but I would challenge that a bit. Let me tell you why I would. Because I feel that there are individuals in those institutions, if we had leaders who made the right ask, who had the right ask and the right plan,
I
I
wouldn't
think
sue
that
them.
many,
I'd solve it behind closed doors. I don't want to sue you.
yeah,
I don't want to
sure,
judge you,
absolutely,
but you
absolutely,
won't give up some of that damn money.
absolutely. And
And
I
if you
think,
don't give to
but
me,
but
then I might send Black Stevie over there to knock on your door while you in Utah.
that's true. But all I'm saying, Donnie, is I think that there are people. I know there are people in those institutions that if we had the right leadership and the right plan and the right execution, that they would step up
But
and
see,
be
you
a
talking about
partner
the
with
John
us.
Brown type white people. And I'm glad you mentioned those John Brown type white people because I wrote about John Brown in my second book. John Brown is my favorite white man in history. You know why?
I
Because
can
he
imagine.
fought against slavery and he would
Yes, he
bust a
did.
cap in anything that moved.
Yep. And put his life on the line.
There would be no Kansas Jayhawkers if it weren't for Captain John Brown. The Kansas Jayhawkers, those were essentially freedom fighters. The Kansas basketball team, the Jayhawkers, see, the Kansas did not want to be a slave state, but the racists wanted them to be a slave state.
Right, right, right.
I think back then they called the racists crackers because they crack whips on black people's backs. And that is
My
the
Lord.
history of this country. And that's what we have to address and heal.
We do.
We don't want a damn skateboard park. I do want my reparations though. I want all of my and I want my daddy's money that he didn't get emigrated. I want my reparations. But there's some basic things. How did we come through Baltimore City? Did you come through city schools?
I did. I went to Cherry Hill Elementary, Cherry Hill Middle School, and then Polytech.
Okay, I went Poly then Dunbar. How is it that we got a solid education back then? Today, with more money, kids are getting a poor education. Explain that.
You know what it is, Donnie? It's the parents. Your mother and father, my mother and father, they held the system accountable that we get taught. Even though we were in a segregated environment, because I went to school with black kids from K through 9. It wasn't until Poly that I was integrated into the
I never
schools.
went to white. I
Our
never went to
parents,
school with white kids either. It was culture shock too, from Lamella Poly.
it was for me too. Yeah, Donnie, it's culture shock. It really was. But I'm saying that
Had
whole
a
time,
white
that
dude get up in your
foundation.
face in Hamden talking smack to you.
Oh man, oh yeah, we used to battle now. We had our battles. But I'm saying your parents and my parents of that generation, they made sure, even despite discrimination and racism, they made sure that the system was accountable to teaching us, right? And that we had a
I was gonna
foundation.
say it was people like Roland Patterson
Yes,
who shook
yes,
who shook it up and made the city school system come correct. What has
yes.
baffled me is the
Responsive.
corruption
Yes, true,
within the school system. Because something is
true.
fundamentally wrong when we close the schools because they don't have air conditioner. You run a business, I run a business. There's the air conditioner. Why the hell isn't it on and working?
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, Donnie, I'll go back to leadership. Go back to leadership. You
And I'm
said,
not paying nobody no 350,000 a year for nothing. I'm gonna
yes,
start you
Lord.
off at 125, 150,
Hmm.
and you can
Hmm.
get bonuses.
Yeah. Prove yourself.
But
That's
I
right.
ain't getting. I don't care who you are.
Right.
We'd have to
Absolutely.
renegotiate the police commissioner and the school CEO because they look a little too damn comfortable to be making $300 and kicking out an inferior product. I don't know about you, but I like to get what I paid for.
Absolutely. I do as well. And we control that. We control that if we choose to accept the power that we have. That's why I wrote the book, Let God Be God, because there's power that we have access to that we don't use. So power that's not used is no power at all.
Mr. Bob, I think we need a spiritual retreat for the entire city of Baltimore.
Amen.
I think
Amen.
we need to all convene around North and Charles.
Yes,
Come from
sir.
the east, the north, the south, the west, black, white, Asian, Latino, even our Pakistani brothers. I don't need to see Freak Nasty Tharu Vignaraja there, though. And if they ever call you on Fox 45, you see Freak Nasty, you might want to excuse yourself because we don't like him. Freak Nasty. He always talking smack about Baltimore. I never hear him saying anything good. And he need to get him a
Mm.
girlfriend and stay off Green Mountain Avenue. People
I
saw
ain't
him
touching
over.
that with that.
I know people on Green Mountain, they saw him and that lady, he giving a tour of this lady at 1 o'clock. But Fox put him on the news every day like he's the Pope.
Mm. Mhm. But Donnie, we have the power. But Donnie, we have the power to choose our leaders. Let us choose wisely. Is my point. Let us choose wisely.
We have to have
I
you back
believe
on the
we have
show.
we have the power to fix ourselves. We got to use it.
Yeah, it's something we're not doing. If my people will call by my name and all this,
Yes, sir.
if they will humble themselves,
Humble
pray,
themselves. Yes,
seek
sir.
God's face, turn
Yes,
from
sir.
their wicked ways.
And I
If
will
we do
heal their
all that,
land. Yes, sir.
but we're reminded why Moses was out in the wilderness for 40 years, because some people were not ready.
They weren't ready, Donnie. And they didn't make it in because they were not ready. They didn't make it in. But some did. Some did. And
Armstead
Joshua,
Jones been down that election board since Harriet Tubman. When that man gonna leave? You ain't gonna touch
who
that. Okay.
yes,
Armstead Jones, he's been down at the Board of Elections since Harriet Tubman was alive.
he has.
Fumbling
Yes, he
every
has.
damn election. Does anybody else see this? Because in 2016, he robbed Sheila. I swear he did.
Hmm.
Linda Lamone.
I don't get it. I don't get it, Donnie. I don't get it. I don't get it.
And he a Republican. This ain't all that strong a Democrat. You got a Republican counting your ballots.
My Lord.
So much for Democratic pride. I don't trust him. Because he say the same thing every year.
Yeah. It is amazing, Daddy. That's amazing. Again, Daddy, choices that we make, right? Leadership or lack thereof. We get the right leaders with the right plan, Daddy. We can fix ourselves. We can heal. We can heal this land. I believe that.
Good deal. Mr. Bob Wallace, we thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be back.
Yes, sir.
Actually, we have a show going on as we speak, but I'll be back Monday morning. Keep watching blackusa.news. My name's Donnie Glover. For the rest of the team, good morning, world. Thank you, Mr. Bob.
Thank you, Danny. God bless you.
Yes, sir.